Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Thursday. Welcome into the morning hookup. Bill Hooks, YZ on the ones and twos on a beautiful Thursday morning. Welcome in, welcome in. Elijah Herbert will join us shortly. There's other stuff going on this morning, but welcome in. Boy, first of all, start off with crazy weather yesterday, guys. Hope everybody out there has found some safe areas and didn't experience some damage in houses or cars. It was wild yesterday, man. So hoping everybody out there is safe and experience what a massive storm that come rolling through yesterday. All of a sudden, like what, 2:30ish?
Yeah, we were talking before the show. Not sure I've seen rain come down like that in a very long time. Other than like when tornadoes come around and things like that. But this was very very heavy rainfall and wind and things blowing everywhere. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was wild, man. So hope everybody, I don't want to say survived it, but made it through it with little to no damage at all of that course. Because I know a lot of people were commuting out and about. Our delivery people out there. Hope you. I know they weren't dry, but hopefully everything on that side turned out okay. Because man, it's been really really wet around our city as of late. But man, what a show we got today. We've got a lot going on. We're going to jump into the AP Top 25. We're going to talk underrated, overrated, pretenders, contenders, disrespected conversation coming up. We're going to talk some Husker volleyball in hour number 2. Jump into a little Husker football talk about positions with regards of who starts, who finishes, all that kind of conversation as well. And guess what? We had a great opportunity this morning. We caught up with head baseball coach, Lincoln East, and Carpet Rugs National World Series, American League World Series champion, Coach Michael Lonick, joined us this morning. So you'll get a chance to hear his interview and conversation in hour number 2. We had a great conversation with Coach about that team, that run they went on, what it means, and all this stuff. Man, it was great to catch up with Coach this morning.
Yeah, very humble guy. Was able to, talk about all of the kids, and it was really, really, really fun to talk to him.
Yeah, so you get a chance. Hour number 2, right around 10:20, 10:25, around that time, we'll have Coach Michael Lonick in there. And then, by the way, as we talk, golf is back today again, the BMW Championship. We're on the race to 30. What exciting times. We'll talk that hour number 1. Get, like I said, a little volleyball talk as well. And hey, YZ, by the way, happy National Radio Day.
Yeah, happy National Radio Day to you too.
I know. Unfortunately, we're missing the photo right now. We got to work.
Yeah, it's not much of a missing the photo, but more of a trying to avoid the photo and sit here in the studio.
Yeah, let's avoid that. We're radio people. We don't have faces for this. We have voices for this. Hopefully that's the key.
Exactly.
So yeah, a lot to get to. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Good morning, Arlo. Good morning, FootXN. Good morning, Greg. Good to see you guys on the stream. Thanks for taking the time. So, boy, AP Top 25 busted out. When you look at it, a lot of common guys at the top, common folks out there. I don't want to say a lot of surprises when you look at this, but some of the highlights when you look at it. Big Ten very well represented there. 3 of the top 6 in that ranking. When you look at it, obviously you got a couple SEC schools in there. Georgia sitting at 3. Whichever poll you look at, Texas checked in at 4. There's Notre Dame, the free pass every year for Notre Dame. They're at 5. Miami 7, A&M 8, Oklahoma 9, Ole Miss checking in at 10. YZ, when you look at this, what surprises you the most when you look at this? I think there's a couple of teams maybe out there that got a little disrespect put to their name. And then also there's a couple of teams out there that maybe are overrated in this poll. And a surprise when you look at like a team like Alabama, first time in 17 years, I believe, not in the top 10. But I think overall you look at this, Big Ten, SEC, reign the parade on the top 15 of this poll.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, Big Ten and SEC dominant. I see, a few teams here that are maybe ACC, Big 12. But other than that, you're going to see Big Ten and SEC teams. Definitely sticks out like a sore thumb to me, seeing Indiana, the reigning national champions, come in at number 6. I didn't really understand that one because It's not like they got worse, in my opinion. They still bring a lot back from that championship team last year, especially in the trenches. And then, with the transfer portal and everything, everybody wants to go and play for Indiana. So they picked up some solid pieces in the transfer portal as well, some weapons, some more guys in the trenches, brought over Josh Hoover from TCU, who is a very dynamic quarterback. And you got Kurt Signetti coaching that team. So after coming off an undefeated season like that, seeing them come in all the way down at number 6. I know all of these teams in the top 5 are extremely talented as well. I'm just not sure how you don't put Indiana at number 1 preseason coming into the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably when you look at the word disrespect, there's a disrespect put on the end and Signetti thing. Like they need any more material to go with. There'll be an interesting case to watch when you look at it. I think it's really interesting as well is the way those first place votes got allotted out. When you look at it, Ohio State, clear cut number 1. They get 40 first place votes in this poll. Oregon comes in at 14. At number 4, Notre Dame got 6. Indiana in the 6th spot got 8 first place votes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Miami. Look at Miami at number 7.
Yep.
They got a first place vote. 2 teams in the top 20 and the top 5 do not get first place votes. Georgia, no first place votes. Texas, no first place votes. Those are the 1 and 2 teams in the SEC right now on paper. When you look at it, Georgia, I believe, a slight favorite to win the SEC this year on that side, with Texas slightly behind them. There's some interesting teams that stick out to me in this poll. When you look at, we talked a little bit about it last week or a couple of days ago about which of those teams are pretenders in the poll. Elijah looked at number 9, I believe, right? Ole Miss. Ole Miss is an interesting case, right? What's their motivation? Last year, obviously, getting into the playoff, their motivation is how much they hated their former head coach in Lane Kiffin. They'll get a chance to prove themselves against a team like LSU early in this season because they do play each other. And then you look at LSU. LSU sitting there right at 11. What does that look like from Lane Kiffin's first year? A lot of expectations rolling into that season. And then I think a couple, you mentioned ACC and Big 10, or Big 12, sorry. Those are kind of be very interesting as they're not very powerful top to bottom in the conference and how those conferences turn out. Texas Tech, let's say it, they don't have Sorsby, but you look at their schedule, one of the easiest schedules out in the country this year. They look to win the Big 12, almost going away when you look at some of those teams. But you got BYU at 14. That was a team that you thought, right? If I'm not don't miss. Okay, BYU was maybe a pretender for you.
Yeah, it's hard to say that they're going to be a pretender just because it's more so of the fact that I don't think that they can beat Texas Tech. Like, I think that they can beat up on the rest of the Big 12 and get themselves probably into the Big 12 championship. But from what I saw last year and how Texas Tech completely dominated them in the regular season and in the Big 12 championship, they're not going to take that next step to be a playoff team. This is Texas Tech's conference to lose. They obviously, yes, we know all the stories with Sorsby, and they're not going to have Sorsby coming into the season. That's fine. They are absolutely loaded at every single position. We know the NIL money that Texas Tech has, and they were able to go out in the portal and just pluck and pluck and pluck and take kids from everywhere around the country, and they are easily the most talented team in the Big 12. And you mentioned the schedule. Texas Tech is going to roll through this conference, and when they do meet up with BYU, I don't see BYU beating them. So it's not that I think BYU is necessarily a pretender. It's more so of just how much more dominant Texas Tech is than them.
Man, you look at this schedule. I just brought it up again. Abilene, whatever, that's fine. Oregon State. I tend to zero in on their conference schedule and the teams they don't have to play. You mentioned that they do. So this is who, from a Big 12 perspective, who Texas Tech gets. Houston. They got Houston. Okay, fine.
But they get them at home.
At home. You go to Colorado. Program on the descent, by the way. I think that little story is about to come to a conclusion. Arizona State, Cincinnati, Arizona, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Baylor, TCU. They don't even have to play BYU in their regular season.
Yep. Yeah, this is their conference to lose. They have it top to bottom. They lost some pieces on that defensive line that were, animals last year. But if you go and look at the roster and, the production of the guys that they did bring in, they're all senior transfers. They've all played high-level football. a lot of these guys, Nebraska was in talks with. Trey White was a big one on Nebraska's radar. A guy from San Diego State that played under Rob Orich. He decided to go to Texas Tech mainly because of just how much money they are able to offer. If you go and look at just everything that Texas Tech brought in and the production, if everything comes together, they have all of the talent to run the table in the Big 12.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think again, like you said, it's theirs to lose at this point. I zero out again. We'll look at some SEC, go into some Big Ten. I think there's some interesting stuff within this poll in the Big Ten. I picked out Alabama. I think Alabama is one of those teams that, boy, I don't think it probably sits well right now with an Alabama team being preseason ranked outside the top 10 and roughly not really thought about as a contender. I mean, yes, a contender in the SEC, but probably fourth on the list when you look at the polls. You got Texas, Georgia, like now you got Oklahoma pretty much ranked ahead of them in the poll. But man, look at their schedule in the Caleb DeBoer's next campaign. It is not very easy when you look at it. They got Florida State on their schedule. Their Big Ten, their SEC schedule. Boy, when you look at this, they open it up second week at Kentucky. Okay, probably okay. South Carolina at Mississippi State. They got Georgia at home. They got to go to Tennessee. They got A&M on this schedule. They got LSU and Vandy, and they finish up with the Iron Bowl. That is not an easy slate for Alabama. Looking at it, they're one of those teams that, looking at their schedule, I could see them at the bottom of the top 25 in this season or completely out of it when this season's over.
Yeah, that stretch from October 10th to November 7th is pretty brutal. You're gonna get beat up a lot there. You have a bye week going from after the Texas A&M game, but then you go on the road to LSU. We know how difficult it is to play at that stadium. Lane Kiffin is going to have that fan base, extremely excited for this season. If they are rolling at that point in the season, that place is going to be an absolute madhouse. This sets up very poorly for Alabama. They do have, they've had a guy in Austin Mack who has been kind of like sitting behind and waiting in the shadows to be their quarterback this season. And it sounds like they have a little bit of a quarterback position battle. And the sophomore, Keelan Russell, is kind of leaning towards getting the QB1 option. So they have like sort of a quarterback battle coming in. They've had, DeBoer in the last couple seasons kind of getting, the short end of the stick from Alabama fans because he hasn't lived up to expectations or like the standard of Alabama football. There's a lot of pressure on Alabama this season, and I could definitely see them folding under that pressure rather than amounting to that pressure.
Looking at a few of the Big Ten schools as in this first segment, we appreciate you guys taking the time to hang out with us. Look at 15 and 16. I think there's some interesting stuff. There's USC sitting at 15. Big year for Lincoln Riley in that program as I don't want to say the pressure is mounting, but it is. He was sent there from Oklahoma, not sent there. He went there and got hired at USC to bring a championship back to the West Coast, right? We all know that the quarterback situation he's had has been pretty good. You've been high on the starting quarterback for USC. They have a chance to make some noise. Now, it's not going to be easy for USC when you look at their schedule, but they have an opportunity to set the world on fire when you look at it from their perspective. They have got it's a brutal stretch. September 26th, October 3rd, October 10th. And in that stretch, Oregon at home, Washington at home, at Penn State. There's a 3-game gauntlet right there. And then you get, I don't want to say a week or so off. If you get a bye week, you got to go to Wisconsin. Look at the games they have. So you got that brutal 3-game stretch, and then their season on Halloween. Number 1, Ohio State at home. Bye week at Indiana, November 14th.
The thing USC has in their favor is if you look at which teams in the FBS return the most starters. If I told you USC led the country in returning starters, would you believe me? Because they do. They bring back Jade Maeva. They bring back their entire offensive line from last year, something you don't see. Yes, you lost Makai Lemon, but you have guys who are familiar with the system, familiar with what Lincoln Riley wants to do. They have all the talent to go and compete in these games and set themselves up for success, but this is pretty tough. It is pretty brutal. It will help getting Oregon, Washington, and Ohio State all at home. You do have to go on the road to play Indiana, but I'm kind of teetering on this. I don't know where to go. I think, like I said, I think they have all of the talent to be successful, but it's kind of one that I have to wait and see and kind of evaluate where they're at, probably around that the beginning of October. See, kind of do a little bit more evaluation on USC.
Team right behind there as we continue to talk about the AP top 25 out there. How about Michigan? Kyle Whittingham's first campaign. How does that look? What are the expectations there coming out of the turbulent situation that they went through on that team? We're going to find out about Michigan pretty early on in their season. They get September 12th. They got Oklahoma. They'll get Oklahoma. But then you look at their Big Ten slate. How do they navigate it? What does it look like? We've got Kyle Whittingham out there talking about the Ohio State game is not this rival situation, not that big of a deal. It did not sit well with fans at Ann Arbor. They've got a little navigation to do in their Big Ten in his first thing. They've got an up and down kind of stretch when you look at it. They do get Iowa. They get them at home, but then Minnesota, Penn State, you get Indiana home. So you're talking about home games. It really shapes up for Michigan with a lot of great home games with a chance. You get Iowa at home, Penn State at home, you get Indiana at home, but then you go on the road. You got to go on the road to Oregon and Ohio State.
Is there a guy that kind of fits more of the Michigan? What do you want to call it? I guess the mantra of what Michigan football is.
The Michigan man. Be a Michigan man.
Like the tough in the trenches, run the ball, really good offensive line. Those were what his teams were about at Utah, and those were what those teams were about when Harbaugh was at Michigan. They're going to line up and run the ball. They have gone through some, and no, not down years, but sort of like middling years with Sharon Moore. You never really knew what Michigan's identity was, and we know that whole fiasco that went down. I think they're looking to put that past them. And I think they got a good guy in Whittingham. I think he is a very solid coach, and they have opportunities to, win some games at home this year. It will be tough late in November, but if you do what you're supposed to do in the front half of the season, in the middle half of the season, you could have some confidence rolling in to that away game at Oregon, and then that Ohio State game is always a fun one as well. So I think I think Michigan is kind of coming into this season a little bit underrated. I think they're going to be a pretty solid football team this year.
Absolutely. Good morning, Todd. Good morning, Shane. Yeah, Arlo, I agree with you, man. There's going to be some fun games this year. Before we get out of this segment, I want to ask you this, have you had a chance to look at, is there a team not in the AP top 25 that you think might be able to crash the party? I got one. And again, It's been talked about. It was a team that I was highly on last year, and I said it Monday that I grossly missed it, and I thought Clemson was underrated last year at the 4 spot. Can they return to form? Can we get back to where Clemson was? They have a chance. The ACC is not tough, okay? They are not that tough. When you look at it, they will get their opportunities when you look at their schedule. How about out of the gate? They have LSU out of the gate. Clemson gets LSU. There's only 2 ranked opponents on their schedule this year. They've got LSU and Miami. That's a team. Can they get back to the Dabo ways, the Clemson ways? Because you look at their schedule, if they can go out, prove their point against LSU on September 5th, that's a win. Then they got Carolina, Cal. They got that October 3rd game that will be against Miami at home. And then you look at the slate the rest of the way out. Virginia Tech, Florida State, Cuse, Georgia Tech, Duke, South Carolina finish their year.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. That the ACC is kind of like the area that I'm staying with because of just how, from year to year, how different that conference is and how non-competitive it is compared to some of the other conferences. I think Virginia was very good last year. I really like their head coach, Tony Elliott, and they have done really well in the portal, being really aggressive in the portal, and they how do I say this? Okay, so Iowa, if you look at the number of snaps played in college football, Iowa is one of the they have some of the lowest amount of snaps played in college football. Virginia, they have so much experience and talent. They have guys that have played in college football for multiple years. They have experience. They're an older team. And like I mentioned, I like their head coach. Remember, this team was, one win away from going to the college football playoff last year, coming off a overtime loss to in the ACC championship to Duke. So I think Virginia will, has a good chance at winning the ACC this year, and that's my underrated team coming into the season.
Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff coming up. We'll start looking at it now because now that the rankings are out, you can start looking at football Saturdays, what days are going to be more electric than others. I know the early slate isn't great in week 0, but boy, watch out for some of it. We'll talk about some of those. In September, there's a Saturday where it's like all the ranked teams are playing each other based on paper version right now, but there's so much more in that coming up. So, hey, let's take our first break. That was a good one. Thanks for hanging out with us. Take our first break. We're going to come back and jump into a little Husker talk. Position battles. Who starts there? Do they finish there? What do stats look like that? We'll talk about that a whole lot more when we return. Feeling the juice this morning.
You bet.
Feeling the juice. There are some really good dates out there that I was looking at. Like, where's that first date? That first, it's like scores week 2, no, week 3. It's week 4. All right, so let's go top 20. Week 4, I think that's when it is. No, I go to week 4. Week 4, listen to this. If I pick the right week, is that right? Oh, yeah. Listen to this slate for week 4 of college football. And again, things have changed. You get number 5, Texas at Tennessee. Then you get Iowa at Michigan, ranked game. A&M at LSU, Oklahoma at Georgia, Oregon at USC.
Yeah. That Oregon USC game is going to be awesome. Oregon's going to be really good this year.
That's a defining moment of games. Like even the slate where the weekend we play week 6 when we get Indiana, Iowa, Washington, there's the old shootout, Texas, Oklahoma, Indiana at Nebraska, A&M at Missouri, USC at Penn State, Georgia at Alabama. Woo!
Nothing better than a college football Saturday.
I agree. Elijah's still over there rocking it.
Yeah, walking in right now. There he is.
Boom. Look at that timing. Impeccable timing.
Yeah, I was waiting for you guys to hit that commercial break. I was sitting in there watching the screen. Once you guys hit the commercial break, all right, Schmidt, I got to go.
We were rocking. We a little longer than that first one, but really got into the AP top 25 pretenders, contenders.
I was walking over there to do the interview with Schmidt in for the people out. We were doing a little picture today for National Radio Day, and Katie asked me, "Oh, you want to be in the picture?" And I go, and she goes, "Do you want to take the picture?" And I go, "Sure." So I avoided the picture.
You got out? Good.
Avoided it.
Arlo wants to know the luck on finding your Fiero.
See, I've decided I'm gonna one bite of the apple at the time. I'm gonna drop the engine out of this Buick if I can, and then worry about finding a supercharger and getting the engine all put together, and then I'll worry about the Fiero down the road. I think that's the current plan. We don't need to buy the whole apple if we only want one bite for now.
Yeah, true. There you go. See, look at you. So you are all grown up, sir.
One problem at a time from it.
All grown up. Welcome back in the morning hookup. Again, happy Thursday. Thanks for hanging out with us. We get to welcome in one Elijah Herber now, he avoided the picture. You avoided the camera again on National Radio Day, my friend.
Listen, no one wants to see me in that picture, you know?
Isn't that funny?
It's as simple as that. We don't want people to see that picture and be like, oh, I wish I hadn't seen that. So
it's funny when you get National Radio Day and you're like, we are radio personalities. We are not meant for cameras, my friend. We are behind the scenes.
Face for radio is how my dad always said it. Love you, Dad. Thank you.
Bless you, Dad. And the fact
Really
that
instilled confidence in me from a young age.
now the fact that we have to stream, that we don't have to, but now the fact that we stream the show, we get to show our faces occasionally.
Sorry, folks.
Elijah, well, we just got off talking AP top 25. We'll jump back into a little bit of that later on as we kind of navigated the waters a little bit about disrespected teams. We kind of, obviously, the one we look at is Indiana. I feel a little disrespected at 6, with also receiving 8 first-place votes in that. And then some of the teams that we think are currently in the top 25, they're going to fall out. We talked a little bit about that the other day. And then a team outside, I want to get your thoughts on this real quick, is a team outside of that poll right now that can crash the party. I threw a team like Clemson in there. Clemson is that schedule. They got the weak ACC. They got 2 opportunities on that schedule. They got LSU out of the gate, and they got Miami. Those are only 2 ranked teams. Can Dabo and that Clemson return back to where they've been at the top? Boy, I think that's a team that maybe can crash the party.
How about I hate to say it. How about Minnesota?
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I look at Minnesota, and what do we know about Minnesota? They're always solid along the lines of scrimmage. It always feels like they have 1 to 2 running backs that'll give you trouble. This year they have a returning quarterback in Drake Lindsay. Was he great last year? No. But did we get to see the best of him for us watching Nebraska against Minnesota last year in Minneapolis? Yeah, he had a fantastic game. And they always fly under the radar. It's simple as that. Like the Golden Gophers, they're never going to be sexy. Never.
Mm-hmm.
But they always feel like they're solid where you need to be solid along the lines of scrimmage. And what elevates them is if they get good quarterback play, a couple good players on that defense, specifically on the back end, they're a team that feels like they can crash the party at any given time. So I hate to say it, but that might be my team. Maybe not they can crash the party in terms of college football playoff being top 10 in the country, but could they crash the party in terms of being a top 25 team? Sure. I mean, their schedule, it's challenging, to say the least. They start off their Big Ten slate. Well, not to mention the fact that they have a SEC team on their non-conference schedule with Mississippi State. That's a beatable SEC team, but it's still an SEC foe. I'll tip my cap to you, PJ Fleck, for actually going and scheduling challenging non-conference games. I have a feeling that Minnesota will not have any trouble selling tickets against Mississippi State early in the season. Take notes, decision makers around here. But to look ahead, then you go at Washington to kick off the Big Ten slate at the end of September. Then you come back home against Michigan, at Purdue, which that's very winnable for them. Then they're home against Iowa, at Indiana, back home against UCLA, at Penn State, and then they close with Northwestern and Wisconsin. The games that'll tell the story of the season: at Washington, home against Minnesota, home against Iowa, at Indiana, at Penn State. That's a tough 5 games, but if they can find a way to go 2-3 in those games, I could totally see them being a top 25 team.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I think their tough sled's going to be on the road. When you look at their schedule, their road games are pretty brutal. When you talk about the at Washington, at Indiana, at Penn State, at Wisconsin, but they could be one of those annoying teams on the slate that could be there and not at the end, but they could crack the top 25 for sure.
Believe they return 3 starting offensive linemen. Let's check this here. Yeah, they brought in a transfer starting right tackle from Tennessee. He did not start for Tennessee, but I believe he was their second string right tackle last year. They went and got Caden Helms, if you remember the name, a kid from Bellevue West that's been playing at Oklahoma in recent years and has been playing all right down there. They're a team that they can't go raid other teams in the transfer portal, but they can pick up some key pieces, and they return guys at some very, very key spots. They also might have the best edge rusher in the Big Ten, Anthony Smith. That guy is a freak. There's just pieces on that Minnesota team, and I love him or hate him, you got to respect Coach Fleck. He always puts together a solid team that has a super high floor. You don't worry about them losing like games against like Purdue or Northwestern. I think they should be able to take down Wisconsin. It's just a question of, can they go get Iowa and one other, whether it's Washington, Penn State, Michigan, Indiana. If they can take down Indiana and get one of those other 4 games, that could easily be a team that's in the top 25 at the end of the year.
I agree with you. It's going to be such a fun college football season. Now we got the polls out and things like that, and we could start navigating. Again, that other question is, we kind of talked a little about yesterday or so, is that team that starts in the top 25 that's going to be gone at the end of the season and not see them. I threw it out there yesterday. I put Alabama in that mix. I think the tide is turning a little bit. Don't no pun intended there, but the waters are going to be navigated this season pretty rough for a team like Alabama, and Caleb DeBoer is. That schedule, I could see them not being there. I also want to get your thoughts. Again, we will talk some Huskers coming up, but I think this is such a unique year. When you look at, I think the AP top 25 is very top heavy in this situation. You're talking about that top 5 or 6 teams that are really contenders and not, but we kind of navigated thoughts on Big Ten stuff. Look at 15 and 16, a USC team and a Michigan team. USC slate, they can make some noise, but it is not going to be easy when you look at that schedule.
Now, the team that I don't know if we're talking about enough is USC.
Yep.
It's strange to say. Like, I almost think the biggest question mark I have with him is just how good is Jaden Maiava actually? Feels like sometimes you get a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde with him, and he was playing more consistently last year, but you still get those occasional moments where you go, this guy was highly recruited. He's been great in most games he played, but he has those occasional quarters and halves where it just feels like he is all over the place, inaccurate, throwing interceptions. But after a couple of years, it feels like USC is Big Ten ready along their lines of scrimmage. The talk coming out of USC is this is the best defense Lincoln Riley has ever had. Combine that with Maiava. We saw King Miller last year. We know he was the third string running back coming into Lincoln, but man, did that dude run the ball. And hey, a lot of teams ran the ball all over Nebraska last year, but King Miller ran the ball really well in that game. Felt like USC could have won by 3 touchdowns if Lincoln Riley didn't try to get cute in the red zone. That USC team is a team that is intriguing to me. And you've had less complaining from Lincoln Riley about their schedule and their cross-country travel this year, which if you're whining preseason, that kind of permeates through the team about, oh, look at all this travel we have to do. Listen, everyone in the Big Ten's got to travel. It's not easy for a West Coast team, but the talent that they have out there is undeniable. Can they finally put it together and be a team that is solid and ready to go along the lines of scrimmage? If they are, that USC team could be a playoff team. It could be the 4th team. And that's what teams are fighting for.
And they're going to navigate.
I think we all know. It's probably going to be Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana making the playoff. Which 4th team out of the Big Ten can crash the party and make your way in? Your candidates are probably USC, Michigan, Washington, Penn State. Those are probably the candidates to be that 4th team in. So be curious to track those 4 teams because it would be a shocking day, let's be honest here, with the bias around the country, if the Big Ten were to get a 5th team in. 4 teams, though, is a realistic goal for the Big Ten here. Who can that 4th team be?
And they'll navigate a 6-game stretch with a couple buys in there. This is what it looks like. And again, we can go through every schedule in the country and go, this is their stretch. But listen, this stretch for USC, very last game of September, they're at home against Oregon. They flip it, go home against Washington, flip it, go at Penn State, at Wisconsin, home against Ohio State, at Indiana to start November. Whew. So
if you go with Oregon, Washington, Penn State, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Indiana, go 3-3 in that stretch, and you could be a 9-3 playoff team, depending on who you beat.
Yeah, but you mentioned Penn State, by the way. We glossed.
Oh, think we have lost Hooksy.
Back. Hooksy, we lost you for a second. You were just beginning to talk about Penn State.
Well, I think Penn State's a team we glossed over. Matt Campbell taking over there, bringing half the party or most of the party with them. And they've got a schedule that's very easy to – not easy, but it's more on the navigatable side than anything when you look at their schedule in a new situation where non-conference not great. Obviously, they'll open up Big Ten play at home against Wisconsin. But they need to navigate their schedule a little bit. This is a team that can make some noise at maybe a 10-2, 9-3 type playoff team. They're October at Northwestern. They get USC at home. They go to Michigan, Purdue after that at home. And it's not as tough in November. At Washington, Minnesota, Rutgers, at Maryland. They elude most of the big dogs when you look at it from the Big Ten perspective.
People are high on Penn State, I think, more because of the schedule than because of the talent.
Yes.
That is what is tough for me with Penn State is can Ames, Iowa, Northeast come compete in the Big Ten? can Rocco Becht be a solid Big Ten quarterback? You've brought in transfers all over the place. Is that going to work out for you? I don't know. Their ultimate wild card in the Big Ten is the Penn State Nittany Lions, because you could tell me that with that schedule, that team goes 10-2 this year pretty easily, but I don't think they'd be an impressive 10-2. I mean, they avoid Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
They could also be the Penn State of last year or the Clemson of last year, to where they have everything set up for them to be one of those top teams in the country, and it just doesn't come together.
I mean, they could be a 10-2 team that their best win is home against USC.
Yeah.
Or at Washington, where there'd be a lot of conversations about, is this team playoff good or not? I could see 8-4 as well, and them being the worst 8-4 team in the country. I don't know. I will need to be sold on this Penn State team early, and we'll probably find out a lot about them. It's the 2-week stretch in October against USC and against Michigan. They're home against USC and then at Michigan. We'll find out a lot about this Penn State team in terms of, are they legit or are they a paper tiger because of their schedule? But I mean, I could 100% see a situation where Penn State's got an impressive record, but we look at their results and we go, there's no way that team is that good. Circa was the 2016 Huskers, where they were a top 10 team hitting the road, going and playing in Bloomington against Indiana, and you sneak past them and you're like, this team is not as good as the record would indicate. They were listed at top 10, and then you went and turned around and got smoked the next week by Ohio State, if I remember correctly. I can't remember if that was 2015 or 2016. Maybe that was 15. Where, yeah, it was Mike Riley's first year, where they were riding high all through the year, eking past some bad opponents, but they're undefeated and they're top 10. And then the reality comes with Ohio State. That might be the best comparison for this Penn State team, where the schedule is very, very easy to navigate, but how good are they actually going to be? I don't know.
That's a great point, Sarah. Now, last team we'll talk about, we've mentioned it a multiple of times. Maybe this is can it be looked at as an underrated team in the top 25? The Washington Huskies. You look at the parts they got. Could this be that fourth team that we're talking about from the Big Ten, with possibly, maybe, no doubt about it, one of the best quarterbacks in the country out there? Schedule will tell you everything. Again, they're October. But they open up. They open up their Big Ten slate against Minnesota at Washington. They'll be at home against that one. At USC, Iowa at home, at Purdue. They got to come here on Halloween night to Nebraska. Well, not night yet. We're hoping that's a night game, but at Nebraska. And then their November slate, Penn State at Michigan State, Indiana at home, and they'll finish their season at Oregon.
I really like this team, and I really like the head coach and the defensive coordinator that they have. I think the mix of a really good experienced head coach, a really good experienced quarterback, and then you bring in Ryan Walters to round out your defense. That guy knows how to coach a defense. I really think that this team is talented, and they have, the guys at the top to get them successful. They do have some very, very tough games this year, though. At USC, I would say even coming here is a tough game, even if they are the more talented team. Obviously, we know what that environment's going to be like, and then going on the road out to Oregon. But you do have, some games that you can win as well, getting Penn State at home. You never know what your season's going to look like when you get Indiana at home. There's an opportunity here for them to go in their tough games 3-3, 4-2, and I think they can do that.
Let's go.
My question, I think Washington is pretty properly ranked near the back end of that top 25. I have questions. Damon Williams is great. We know they brought back talent at the wide receiver position. I mean, they're going to be solid through the passing attack, but what got Washington last year was the games where they could not run the football and teams got to pin their ears back. Washington's offense shut down completely, and they lose Jonah Coleman, their top running back. He's playing for the Denver Broncos now. There are two running backs they brought in as transfers. One guy at Louisville last year had a total of 6 carries. And then the other guy, Jaden Lamar, they got from Oregon, had 46 carries, but a lot of that was both garbage time and then kind of very situational football. Like, he was not a guy that Oregon was relying upon last year. are they going to be able to run the football successfully? Washington was at their best last year whenever they ran the ball well with Jonah Coleman, and they did all right for themselves with returners along the offensive line. But if they can't run the football, that's what you have to do in the Big Ten. If you were just trying to drop back and beat teams with Damon Williams game after game after game, coaches and coordinators in the Big Ten are good enough that they will give you some issues. That's my big question. Strong defensive core returning, one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten returning, good wide receiver core. Can they still keep things going if they can't run the football? Because as I said, whenever they didn't run the football well last year, it got ugly quick for that offense.
It's going to be awesome as college football is upon us, and to navigate the waters of the top 25, the conference plans, the opening games. So a lot of fun stuff coming up for us. Also, we're going to take a break. When we come back, speaking of fun stuff, it is the BMW Championship, the race for the top 30. We'll dig into that when we return. They're on the golf course right now.
Yeah. One of the things that does concern me with Washington is the current plan is they're going to be starting a true freshman at left tackle.
Ooh, yikes.
He was a 5-star. One of the top offensive tackles in the country, but we know in the Big Ten, freshmen tend to take their lumps no matter how good you are. If you're going to be starting, especially at the money spot, left tackle. But their left guard, who's going to be playing right next to him, he's a true sophomore. He's a preseason All-American. He came in and played really well as a true freshman. So there's one reason for optimism. But again, whenever it was pure drop-back situations last year, their offensive line regressed back to a average Big Ten unit. But whenever they ran the football well, it was good for them. So
going to be fun.
I think I'm just too much of a believer in Damon Williams.
That dude's good, man.
That dude's legit.
But if it starts to go awry, does his team hate him for trying to leave in the offseason?
Yeah, I did forget about that.
And
he pretty much committed to LSU, and then
what had happened was
so it was he entered the transfer portal, was going to go to LSU, and then Washington sued him because they're like, wait, you signed a deal with us. You can't leave. And he went, you're right. I can't.
My bad. That's on me.
Is there going to be the one game early in the season where the offensive line lets the free rusher through to go kill Damon Williams, say, all right, we're even now?
What movie was that when they did that? It was a movie, right? They did that?
Longest Yard.
Longest yard.
Yeah, he went and he's like, hey, come on through, brother.
Because it wasn't a back-to-back plays, whereas first one was like, all right, I deserve that. And the second one he got killed. He's like, oh, wait, what are we doing here now?
Oh, yikes. Boy, that fog went away. It's nice out now.
If we could avoid rain for a few days, I didn't think I'd be saying this a month ago, but if we could avoid rain for a few days, that'd be great.
It looks like we're going to be okay. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
I've been trying to mow my brother-in-law's lawn since Monday because the mower that I was using gave out, and then it got too dark, and then yesterday it rained, and then so he has a half-cut lawn right now.
Some of us got it done on Monday.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. Welcome back in the morning hookup. A few moments left in a fast-moving first hour. Happy Thursday. Golf is back. The race for the top 30. Here we go. So much at stake here for the top 30 for guys to make careers out of things. On the line, one is getting in the top 30. There's money involved, but there's 2-year exemptions. There's the exemption into all the majors and some guys to watch right now out there. Boy, Gary Woodland is your bubble guy when you look at it right now. He's at 31. And it's fun to watch this because if you start doing a little research on some of this, Gary Woodland, 31. What does he need to do? He needs to finish solo 48th in the tournament, and he gets in. JT Poston, I just need to be 31st. Jake Knapp, you're at 35. All you got to do is three-way tie or better for 16th. A guy like Rye, who's won a championship, a major this year, he needs to be 12th. Ben Griffin, he's a guy to watch. He needs to finish 11th with Sepp Straka and so much more. A guy like Justin Thomas, who has made his career being in the FedEx, he needs 7th. Him and Patrick Cantlay this week need to be 7th or better to make it into the top 30. When you look at right now, the guys are on the golf course. So reactionary right now. Sepp Straka up 7 spots. He's at 32nd now. Justin Thomas, he's moved up 11 so far. Those are a few guys that are on the golf course. And you look at the top. Does Scotty Scheffler, has he found his way back? And he looked like number 1 in the world last week, winning by 8 strokes. Do we see a repeat performance as he will go off a little later today at 1:30? He'll be paired with Matt Fitzpatrick today as well.
And you said Justin Thomas up 11 spots. That has now dropped back as he has bogeyed number 4, and he's right back to where he started now.
There is the love and the reaction of everything that happens. Every stroke matters.
Well, and for the golfers out there, it's got to be a tough thing to try to put to the side, knowing, hey, this is the score I need today to keep myself in the top 30. When you're on the golf course, and I know these elite golfers are different than us, for me, it's like as soon as I get to hole 14 or 15 and I'm starting doing some math, I'm like, oh, if I go par, birdie, par here to finish out, I'm going to break 100 for the first time in my life. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, here comes the double bogey on that first hole. I'm like, if I just par this, I'm good. Or it can even be low pressure, be like, hey, par, bogey, par, and I break 100 and then triple. Like,
yep.
I know these guys are better than us, but it adds such a different element whenever it is what would otherwise be a Thursday and a Friday, a fairly low pressure round, which is, all right, I'm just looking to make the cut, get my chip in a chair on Saturday and see what happens. But now it's, hey, you're looking, make the turn on Thursday and you're looking at that back nine, like, oh, I have to score. I have to shoot a 33 on this back nine in order to give myself a chance to remain in the championship here. Whew, that's a different level of pressure.
It's a completely different level. And again, it'll be action-packed, pressure-packed throughout, as no one is safe. Not no one, but you look at that 25 to 30, what does that make? You look at more of the 30 to the 31 to 35, a lot of pressure there going out there. And again, man, you get to the point where, like you just mentioned, like you're trying to play your golf game. You need to have these guys have plans on the golf course, but you look at a guy like Thigala right now. Thigala has been a steady guy all year long, but you know what he needs to do this week? How about knowing going into a golf tournament to get in the top 30, all you have to do is finish second. That's it. You just got to finish second and you get in the top 30 and you go, wait a minute, I'm playing against Scotty Schefflers of the world out there that are going to keep me out of this, because as Roy McIlroy said yesterday, if you saw the interview with Roy, they were talking about player of the year. He said, all we should be looking at is Scotty Scheffler. If he gets 9 strokes on the green against us this week, we might as well play a couple rounds and just go home.
And think about, not to completely rehash my point here, but think about mentally how tough it's got to be knowing you got to finish second, and then you have one bad hole on a Friday and you drop from sitting in top 15 down to now sitting just outside the top 30 in the leaderboard after one bad hole.
And then you got to overcompensate.
Exactly. And now you got to start playing aggressive. And not everyone's Jordan Spieth being able to play aggressive from the rough whenever they want to. It's like you have to stay within yourself and trust yourself through that process.
And not an easy golf course to do it on, by the way. Golf courses get harder throughout the playoffs. So awesome. Good hour, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, whether it be stream or on the radio. We appreciate you so much. Coming up, we're getting some Husker talk, and you won't want to miss in hour number 2, Coach Michael Lonick of the American Legion Champions coming up. That and a whole lot more. Sit back, relax. We'll be right back. Good. Hey, what does the timing look like when we come back to make the hour fit with the Lonick interview?
It's 15 minutes.
Okay.
And so we'll come back at what? 05?
06.
06. So
go to like, I'm just trying to make it where it fits really nice in there. So if we go 06 to what, like, because we're going to come back with the positional conversation with Nebraska.
So, I mean, I say take it as long as we need to and
then go. Okay.
Okay, we'll be fine.
Okay.
So are we going to do Lonick at the top of the hour or
second segment?
Second segment. So we'll come back. We'll talk about Nebraska positions, about running back, and maybe go into Calandria stats of success and go and navigate those waters. And then we'll go to break and we'll come back with Lonick in the second segment, and then hopefully it'll stream right into stories that we missed.
All right, I'm going to roll the ads.
Okay, awesome. Be right back.
Great. Test drive starting now. And congrats on the low auto loan rate from Members Own Credit Union.
Thanks. Wait, who said that?
Members Own. We're along for the ride, helping you navigate your car buying journey.
You're in my car?
Yes. With great rates and financial guidance, we're here to keep you on track, no matter where the road takes you.
Honestly, I dig it. Own the road with an auto loan from Members Own. Go to membersowncu.org for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
If the power is out, traffic lights may be too. If you come across a dark intersection, treat it like a four-way stop. Find more outage safety tips at les.com/safety. KFOR invites you to join Legacy Retirement's John Kopetsky and his special guests Saturday mornings for the Aging Adventure. Brought to you by Legacy Retirement Communities. Lifestyle and health topics plus fascinating people. The Aging Adventure, 8 a.m. Saturdays on KFOR.
Let's go! With Liberty Plus checking from Liberty First Credit Union, your money helps you move forward. Earn up to 5.50% APY on balances up to $40,000. Plus, rack up My LFCU rewards that you can redeem for cash, travel, and more. With relationship pricing on savings, CDs, and loan rate discounts, Liberty Plus checking helps you earn more with every dollar. Let's go! Earn with Liberty Plus checking. Visit LibertyFirstCU.com.
Qualifications apply. Visit LibertyFirstCU.com for details. Member NCUA.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And in that split-second moment in time, her life changes forever. The toll of breast cancer is great. The need to support those who are battling the disease today is even greater. And that's why when others look away, Susan G. Komen leans in. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change a lifetime. Fighting breast cancer takes funding for research to discover the next new treatment, providing access to quality and affordable health care, and people willing to take action by raising funds and raising their voice to advocate for others. United by hope, we can end breast cancer. Join our fight. Save lives.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The national debt has now surpassed a record $40 trillion, double what it was just 10 years ago, highlighting the high cost of national defense and social safety net programs. As the debt numbers rise, so do interest payments, says ABC Chief Business Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis.
You can think of our national debt like your own credit card. When you spend and you can't pay for it, those interest payments, they surge, and that is exactly what is happening right now. The U.S. is paying more than $1 trillion just in interest on that debt. That is more than what we spend on things like Medicare, veterans benefits, and defense.
President Trump once again trying to ramp up pressure on Iran, warning any country that allows its banks, businesses, or government entities to help Iran evade sanctions will face stiff economic consequences themselves. It's rough out there in Northwest Indiana.
We didn't have no gas, no restaurants. No power. Now we have to throw away everything out of all the refrigerators. At night, it's like Gotham City. You can't see anything.
Brittany Bankhead, who has been without power for a week following severe storms that are today moving eastward. Russia taking advantage of Ukraine's shortage of Patriot air defense missiles, pounding the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv overnight, killing 16 in drone and missile attacks. We don't know where they'll be living, but we do know that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, a.k.a. Harry and Meghan, are moving back to the UK. ABC's Lama Hassan's at Buckingham Palace.
The Prince has been reluctant to bring his family back to England, citing security concerns after losing British police protection in 2020, telling the BBC after losing a court battle to have it reinstated last year.
I can't see a world in which I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point.
But just last month, the King and Queen hosting Harry, Meghan and their children in England. Charles's first time seeing his grandchildren since 2022.
You're listening to ABC News.
That'll be 84.52.
Perfect. Grab the bags, honey. Mom, why do you always check your phone before we pay? I'm just claiming my cash back on the Upside app. Since we're getting the groceries here and we filled up the car on the way, I've already earned enough this morning to pay for that pizza night we're having Friday. Wait, so the app pays for pizza? Not exactly, but the cash I earn on stuff we need helps us pay for the stuff we want. It's just a little win for our family every week.
Get more out of your everyday. Upside is the free app that gets you cash back on routine purchases like gas, groceries, and dining out at more than 100,000 locations nationwide. No points, no rebates, just cash back straight to your wallet. Download the free Upside app and use promo code ACT5 to get a $5 bonus on your first purchase. That's promo code ACT5 to get a $5 bonus. Remember, use promo code ACT5.
Offers vary by user and location at participating merchants. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Heavy rain causes flooding in North Lincoln. Good morning, I'm Jeff Mode. Still some fog in the area this morning. We're at 67 degrees at KFOR. Severe storms Wednesday afternoon dropped torrential rain across the Lincoln metro area and prompted responses to water rescues for Lincoln Fire and Rescue. At the underpass south of 48th and Cornhusker, LFR crews managed to get one person out of the vehicle to safety. Then along 84th Street, 3 more rescues had to be done between Layton Avenue and Havelock. Officially, about 1.18 inches of rain had fallen at Lincoln Airport from the storms on Wednesday. A Lincoln man facing first-degree murder charges will undergo a competency evaluation to stand trial. Court records on Tuesday filed that a judge ordered 24-year-old Sterling James of Lincoln to be committed to the Lincoln Regional Center for that evaluation. James is accused in the January deaths of 26-year-old Hannah Neville and 27-year-old Roberto Tanner, both of Stromsburg, and their unborn child. That competency review for James is set for October 16th. While the investigation continues into fraudulent signatures on petitions to make changes to Lincoln city elections and other statewide initiatives, the group Good Government Lincoln turned in a second round of petitions Wednesday. They turned in more than 9,000 signatures for each of the 3 proposed city charter amendments introduced by former Lincoln State Senator Tony Fulton. The petitions aim to change the dates of city elections, let certain residents outside city limits vote in municipal elections, and place term limits on Lincoln City Council members during the November 3rd election. Affordable housing will be made available inside the former and historic Veterans Hospital building near 70th and L Street.
This phase of the redevelopment will create 95 affordable housing units with a preference for veterans, ensuring that those who served our country have increased access to stable, quality housing.
Urban Development Director Dan Marvin says the project is supported by $850,000 in tax increment financing. Read more at KFORnow.com. Expecting more sunshine today and a high around 84 this afternoon. I'm Jeff Modes, KFOR News.
We often think dime pea-sized hail is no problem, but there are other factors.
Pull this off. We got this.
This is Matt Berkey with Golden Rule Contractors. Wind gusts of 60 mile an hour or higher can do damage to the integrity of your roof, resulting in small leaks around your home. If there's been high winds and hail in your area, contact Golden Rule Contractors for a free estimate at grclincoln.com. We'll treat your home as if it were our own.
The Lincoln Municipal Band continues their summer concert series this Sunday with Band Together for Teachers, Shaping Minds, Sharing Music, a tribute to our teachers with an opportunity for audience members to recognize their favorite teachers in the program. It will be conducted by Terry Rush with guest soloist Carson McTeer on tuba. Come early and enjoy a picnic. The concerts are held at the John Schildneck Memorial Band Shell in Antelope Park. Start at 7.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Welcome back in the Morning Hookup, hour number 2. Happy Thursday. Happy National Radio again day, boys. Boy, you gotta love it.
Thank you, Hook Steve.
For you guys.
It's a big day. A big round of applause for us.
Yeah.
We're going to congratulate ourselves on being so good at this.
Well, how about just being at this? Maybe
I don't know what the country would do without the radio folks.
What would they couldn't yell at us and tell us we're wrong all the time. Come on.
The world it would probably stop spinning.
Does it spin? I'm just kidding. No, don't go there.
We're going flat Earth. Hey, welcome into the Morning Hookup. Today we debate.
Flat Earth or not. Don't you love air travel? I just got a text from my other high school buddy was supposed to be in at 1 o'clock today. Now it's 4 o'clock. Here we go.
Boy. Yep.
Here we go. I'm trying to now. I get to navigate how I get from Omaha, picking up at 4 o'clock to get back to Lincoln. Golf League starts at 5:30. Can we do it? Yes, I think we can. Maybe coming in hot to the first tee box at 5:30, but we'll navigate the waters. There you go. Coming up in a few moments, probably 10 to 15 minutes, Coach Michael Lonick joined the show this morning. You get a chance to catch up with him on the American Legion World Series run and a whole lot more topics. We get into some youth baseball conversations, what makes the program so special right now. And it was great to catch up with Coach this morning. And then stories that we missed. But let's talk a little Husker football. Because now you get to – we've talked fall camp, position battles. But then you can start navigating the positions when you look at it. Who wins the battles, number one? If the person that wins the battle, do they continue that throughout the year? For running back, who's the running back that you think might start there, but who finishes there? What numbers are we looking at for your QB1 for success? What does it look like for success for Calandria coming off 4,200 some odd total yards last year? Does he get to that? Does he navigate the Big Ten like that? And what does it mean for these numbers to look at? And I think it starts at quarterback. It starts at QB1. So we've navigated the trenches, the O-line, the defensive line. We know there's a lot of stats that we can look at from there. But thoughts on Calandria, what it needs to look like for Nebraska's offense to really have some success and win some football games with him at the helm?
To be honest, is it the numbers that matter, or is it the making of plays that matter and the sort of like extending drives? Like, I think it'll be great if we see Calandria go out there and get 700 rushing yards in the season. But also, I would rather, I'm not really looking more at the numbers. I'm looking more of just like his decision making and his ability on the field to make plays. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I mean, to me with Calandria, and I've talked about it before, it's the trade-off. We know there is excitement. We know there is play extending ability. There's play making ability. It's the trade-off of, does the excitement make the turnover-worthy plays worth it? Because there will be turnover-worthy plays from Calandria. Are you more on the side of Jeff Sims with the turnovers to excitement, or are you more on the side of Tommy Armstrong? That's the question I have, because those are two quarterbacks that each made their fair share of turnover-worthy plays. Jeff Sims had some excitement. Hey, he has that long touchdown run against Colorado. He has that long touchdown run against Minnesota early in the season. There was excitement, but as the season progressed that year, the turnover-worthy plays and just the pure number of turnovers that he had made the playmaking ability not worth it. Compare that to Tommy Armstrong. Yeah, there were some YOLO balls from Tommy Armstrong where he threw things up into double coverage and it gets picked off, and you go, that's Tommy, because you also have the Tommy Armstrong experience of him going and kind of putting the team on his back in the fourth quarter against Oregon and winning you that football game. Going up to Minnesota and getting you a big win through his arm and through his legs. Like, the Tommy Armstrong experience, the exciting plays that he made were 100% worth the plays that made you want to rip your hair out. Jeff Sims, it wasn't. Where is Calandria on that sliding scale? There will be turnover-worthy plays. That's what's going to happen whenever you have a quarterback that likes to extend, that likes to throw into tight windows, that likes to throw on the run. Those things are going to happen. What is the ratio of the exciting plays, the explosive plays that he makes, the touchdowns that he generates that would otherwise be impossible, compared to how many times he shoots the offense in the foot and sets up the other team in great field position?
Yep.
Both of those things will be happening this season. What is the ratio?
I'm with both you guys in this, and I love the fact that you guys both mentioned that is what it looks like versus numbers, what scale. Again, I think Husker Nation would probably go, man, give me some Tommy. Give me less of Jeff Sims. Give me Tommy, right? Because I think on the Tommy scale, when you looked at it, yes, there was some YOLO stuff. There's like, oh, my God. But the deal with I look at Tommy versus Jeff Sims, where I think Sims became careless. Like you talk about the Colorado one, but you also talk about how he couldn't handle a snap against Colorado at times early in those games. Like, man, that was so careless. Where Tommy, to me, was tough, and he was trying to make plays. I think that's the scale you're going to get with a Calandria is like, this dude's going to go make plays where you are going to be a guy. And Elijah, you put on your Twitter, you put 3 different plays, right? And that's, you get the full experience of an Andrea Calandria in one setting, right? One drive where it's tight window, boom, look, oh, don't make that. Oh, he made that throw. That was amazing. Versus, oh, no, he missed the linebacker, and how did that not get intercepted, right? Like those plays like that. But I think you're going to get a quarterback that, to me, and like you mentioned, YZ, is just go out and make plays. Make winning plays. But you are going to go, oh, my gosh. But then you're going to be excited through it. Last year, 23 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. You know, he's making plays with his feet. For Calandria and me on your side, YZ, it's talking about like those play extending moments.
Yeah.
For me, right? When you look at that, yes, he's going to make the throws here. Sounds like he's got a really nice deep ball when you listen to talk to receivers. But when it really gets to it, how does Calandria and the running back room, but we're talking about Calandria's, how does, at the moments where we're 3rd and 3, he's on the outside, lower the shoulder, extend the drive? Those are going to be the plays you look at and go, man, that's what we got him for when you look at that type of quarterback. Or we might get the other play where he's rolling to the right in 3rd and 3, and he looks up and he goes, look at the guy way out left. I'm going to try to YOLO this thing to the left, and it might go pick 6. We don't know.
With the Calandria discussion as a whole, Nebraska actually ended last season positive in turnover differential. Is it a warning sign for Nebraska if they are negative in turnover differential this upcoming season? Because, I mean, there's a couple factors that make me think Nebraska's going to turn the football over more. First off, you have Calandria. Less risk averse than Dylan Raiola. We just laid out all the reasons why we think he's going to turn the football over some. Emmett Johnson, last year at running back, did not fumble. Just a guy that you knew carrying the rock. It was not going to end with the other team with the football in a short field. You almost took that for granted last year as a Husker fan. There should be some regression back to the mean this year with your running backs, knowing fumbles happen in football. It's a reality. You'd like to minimize that problem, but a quarterback that likes to extend and be a playmaker, fumbles are going to happen. When you have a running back that is not Emmett Johnson, hey, hard hits are going to happen in the middle of the field. There's going to be some fumbles. Now, the secondary note to this is you're probably going to have a defense that, according to Coach Orich, is going to be a little bit more aggressive. Hopefully they generate some more turnovers. But can Nebraska be a team that is still, I guess, a tough out? Can they still live up to their expectations that we as a fan base, as a media entity, have on this team? Can they still do that if they do have a negative turnover differential in 2026? What do you guys think?
This right here. What Corn Raider said. If you win games, I'm not really concerned about the turnover margin. Like this kind of the building off the conversation of Calandria. You're gonna live with the turnover worthy plays, but you're also going to it like the Tommy conversation. You are happy with him taking chances and going out and trying to win the game and put yourself in a plus position. You can't have the turnovers where it's the Jeff Sims and he can't even take the snap. And then they fumble the ball and the other team recovers the ball at the 20-yard line. If you are having the plays where he's throwing the ball down the field and you're kind of flipping the field, it's kind of like an arm punt. Okay, yeah, you might have 2 or 3 interceptions in a game, but those kind of are still okay. You know what I mean? Like if you can still put yourself in a position to win the game and you lose the turnover margin, I'm happy with that.
I tend to agree, and I think it's a game by game thing situation. Where might have games, honestly, where in the first 3 games when we're playing our little non-conference that we turn the ball over a few times. Could be a fumble here, a fumble there, but you're not winning by 2 touchdowns. Again, it's that. But there are going to be games, and I think you're going to go game by game in the turnover battle. There are games where we're not going to be. You can't afford to turn the ball over because you're going to get 1, limited opportunities. 2, you're going to be playing efficient offenses like Indiana coming to town that you can't afford to give up possessions in the turnover battle. So I think both can be true. So possibly there is a chance where you lose it and go, don't care because we turned the ball over 5 times in the first 3 games, but it was against so-and-so, and we won all 3 games. But if you do those same things against the other part of the schedule, you might go 0-3 in those situations, right? Because there's those games. Like you look at the Indiana, the Ohio State, heck, the Iowa game. Like you always go back to a team like Iowa playing Iowa. One, the type of style they play, you get very limited possessions and limited chances. So turnovers in games like that kill you more than none, right? Because you might only get, because again, officially you're looking 80 to 85 plays a game. Against Iowa, what do you get? Not that many. You might get 60 to 65, limited opportunities. But on the other side is an Indiana team or an Ohio State team. You turn the ball up against them, they're going to score most likely on a turnover. And then you're facing an uphill battle, which leads to more pressure, more situations where you do start getting a little bit more pressure and YOLO stuff that turns into other turnovers. So I think you go game to game and in the situation of who you're playing and what you're doing.
I got to look this up. There was a game between Nebraska and Iowa where Nebraska had a silly number of more plays and time of possession than Iowa, and they still lost. I think it may have been 2015 where Iowa came in undefeated. They made it off to the Big Ten championship game, and I want to say, it was this one. Nebraska, Tommy Armstrong had 45 attempts. Nebraska ran the ball 38 total times. A grand total then of 45. Let's see. I'm not a math major. 55, 65, 75, 83 plays compared to Iowa's 46. But Nebraska had 4 turnovers in that game, and they end up losing 28-20. Nebraska 22 first downs to Iowa's 10. Nebraska 433 yards passing to Iowa, or 433 total yards, I should say, to Iowa's 250. Nebraska 36 minutes time of possession. Iowa 24 minutes time of possession. Nebraska loses 28-20. That's Iowa football for you.
Yeah, that's it.
That game is ridiculous. 2015 Nebraska against Iowa.
Flood X, I'm with Cormater. 9 wins would be awesome. Got to beat at least 2 solid teams. Yeah, I mean it's so reactionary on the turnover battle, and it's just you can look at the turnover battle as a whole, or you go game to game and look at it again on how it figures out. Have you guys looked at, we mentioned this earlier about position battles, about situations where there's going to be a starter that doesn't end up there at the end of the season? I kind of look at running back. I think running back is that room where you look at and go, man, I can see it. Like, here's the guy who's your guy to start, but over time and evolution, that's not the guy that's there at the end of the game.
So you're a Jamal Rowe believer? Is that what I'm hearing here?
Look, man, I'm all about not that. It could be, but I still believe that it's yes, I'm in the camp because I like the young guy. Where does the development start? Where do things end? What's your future type situation, right? You've got a guy like that. I mean, I think that room is one you look at and go, there's no clear cut. There might be a clear cut in camp, but throughout the season, that battle, that's one position I see throughout the year being a nonstop battle week to week. That battle will never sleep. Because I think a lot of battles, whether it be, I think O-line evolves because I think O-line battles will end just based on continuity and consistency. I think battles at receiver are just what they are. But the battle at running back, I think, is an ongoing situation that will never sleep the rest of the season. Because all 3 of us could go, all right, here's our starter against Ohio. But then it could be something completely different as we evolve through the season because, one, they're going to get battle tested. We're probably going to see a lot of in and outs of running backs throughout the first 3 games. Then you get into Big Ten play, and it's how do you get to that point where you've got a guy that's ready for the bruising part of the Big Ten? And what does that look like? And which running back or all the running backs give you all levels of play? When you call plays, it's not telegraphed of, oh, here comes so-and-so. They're going to run the football. That's all they're going to do. I mean, you mentioned it before, right? The whole Ramir Johnson theory. When we saw Ramir walk on the field, guess what? We knew it, right? Even as any Husker fan out there goes, well, our playbook is about like this now. It is not like this. It's like this.
Well, and I think back and how I kind of see Jamal Rule this year is do you remember the end of Roy Helu's career at Nebraska? Here comes true freshman Rex Burkhead to kind of carry the torch, be that second running back in the rotation. And you saw as that year went on, oh, Nebraska got themselves a dude with Rex Burkhead. He's a true freshman, but as the year progressed, he was earning himself 10 to 15 carries a game. And then at the end of Rex Burkhead's career, here comes young Amir Abdullah, who is, I mean, they're playing him in the backfield at the same time with that diamond formation, which, damn, I missed the diamond formation. But as the season progressed there, Rex Burkhead's senior year, I know Rex Burkhead kind of dealt with some minor injuries throughout that senior year, but here comes Amir Abdullah taking 10 to 15 carries a game. Could Jamal Rule be that guy that, hey, as the year progresses, he might not be your number one back, but you're going to him so much that he is a guy that is in contention to be kind of a 1A, 1B type running back as he kind of gains confidence and as he settles into the college game? If you go back and watch and Jamal Rule, the most recent huddle highlight you'll find in huddle highlights, I know they're highlights in their high school film, but it does look like a guy, when you go back and watch his junior year highlights, that looks like a college running back that has been put into the high school game. From his vision, which is what stands out to the most to me about his game. His vision is borderline for a guy of his age special, where it just feels like the man never makes a wrong cut. He's decisive. He makes that one cut and he feels right 90% of the time with when he makes that cut and where he makes that cut. And then he gets upfield. His contact balance is really good. He's got that little bit of shimmy, which I love in running backs, where it's, hey, he's not making you miss completely, but he's got enough shimmy that it's now a glancing blow and he has the contact balance to stay up and keep on running. And then he's got burst as well, where it feels like once he makes his cut, he's up to top speed in 2 or 3 steps. And again, he's playing high school talent, but he does feel like one of those running backs that can step in and be an instant contributor because of his vision and the burst, the shimmy. It's an eye test thing with a running back like that, but it feels like he's almost got the it factor that you need to be a college running back, and that he's only going to get better as he develops into essentially he goes from a high schooler's body into a college athlete's body through the weight room. He's only going to get better and better. Does that mean he's ready to go by the end of year 1? I don't know, but you listen to the coaching staff, he's going to be on the field and he's going to be utilized in some way, shape, or form this year. The question to me is just how much.
I don't know if that room is deeper or if the receiver room is deeper because, we're still not talking about a guy like Quentin Ives. Do you guys think like the timeshare between Mosey, Nelson, and Ives it is something that I want to be interested to see in the first couple weeks of the season? Because do you guys think they use Ives as more of just than a short down back, a 3rd and 1 to come out and get you 1 yard? I think that he can be something more than that. I want to get you guys' thoughts on that.
He's an interesting case to me. That whole room is interesting to me in the factor of you have your another running back essentially at quarterback as well, right? How does that room look like that? Yeah, Calandria. I have a couple of questions, like Ives, a guy like Ives, and what the whole skill set is, right? Number one, for me, I want that running back room to all look the same with whatever who's on the field, right? And I don't know what Ives does to do that. And secondly, on that, which one of those backs or 2 of those backs start jiving with a guy like Calandria in the backfield? How does that look? Because that's a mystery to me. That's a mystery because you got a quarterback back there that's going to carry the swag, that's going to move pretty fast. What does that look like together? Because I see in a vision where, again, you got a fresh, but dynamically, how does a guy like Calandria and Mosey look together? To me, that package looks pretty impressive.
And a secondary question I have to that, if we move away from the running back room, is which wide receiver in a stacked wide receiver room, in my opinion, is able to develop that kind of same relationship with Calandria, where they are Calandria's safety blanket whenever he gets outside the pocket, and they kind of have that connection of, all right, this guy knows exactly where to be whenever Calandria escapes the pocket. It's scramble drill. If you're near the side where Calandria is scrambling to, you run away. If you're on the opposite side, you run towards. Who can that be? And my thought here is, could that be Quasi Gilmer, a guy that we talked about a lot in the spring? I think has flown under the radar this fall with the emergence of Quinn Clark. But that's a guy that had 90+ catches at UCLA last year with a quarterback and Nico Yamalieva that plays, I think, pretty similarly to how Calandria is going to want to operate with the threat of the legs, escaping the pocket. Gilmer was by far and away not even close their top receiving target last year at UCLA. I think he had that rapport with Nico. Is he going to be able to develop that same connection with Calandria? Is Ja'Cory Barney a guy that develops that? Which guy in the wide receiver room becomes, hey, when it's scramble drill time, that receiver becomes the safety blanket for Calandria, where they have that kind of innate connection. They just know where they're going to be at any given time on the scramble drill.
I can agree with you on Gilmer for sure. It's kind of hard to pinpoint a singular guy that could be, because I think all of them could be kind of those guys. Like Hunter is a guy that is physical, and he's going to go and try. If Calandria's going to put a ball, Hunter's going to go and get it. He's going to be, you can trust him like one-on-one with the guy. Gilmer is kind of like a hybrid between Hunter and Barney in the sense of the athleticism, and Gilmer also has the physicality. But when you talk about, like, they have compared this playmaking ability of Calandria a lot to backyard football. And when I think of backyard football and, hey, go make a play, I think of Ja'Cory Barney. I think of a guy that's just gonna, like, he's gonna find a way, and he's gonna make somebody miss. He's gonna get open. I think personally, if I had to pinpoint one singular guy, it would be Barney, just because of his playmaking ability. But I think all of them have sort of that safety blanket sort of feeling to them.
Well, that's great conversation about receivers, but which tight end emerges as well in that type of situation as well. That could be your guy that's kind of hovering in the middle of the field a little bit. A lot of conversations with that. And do I dare say, because, boy, as much as I'm not comparing Calandria to this guy, but what you hope is you get half of what Patrick Mahomes does with his receivers. Not comparing the two quarterbacks, but if you watch in scramble drill mode how connected he is with guys, that's kind of what you're hoping for in that situation. And who is it? Don't know. But there's so much well-rounded with that receiver room. I mean, what's going to happen with that running back room? And it's going to come down to, like, what skill sets do you have all the skill sets to play 3 downs and do all the plays? And what's your cohesiveness with your quarterback, who is going to, at times, he's going to play within the pocket a little bit, but he is going to get outside of it, and it's going to be a little playground action. And that's probably what's going to go. Husker fans going to go, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Throw the ball! Get rid of it! Those things. So, but interesting conversations as we continue to navigate fall camp and leading up to our first game. So, all right, let's take a break. Now, when we come back, we got a chance to catch up with American Legion World Series champion manager, Coach Michael Lonick, also out of Lincoln East. When we come back, we'll get a chance to catch up with him.
All right, let me get this set up here.
So we'll throw that in. That'll take us to, like, what, 47-ish, 48 once we come back?
Yeah.
Just mapping out if my buddy gets in at 4. We get his stuff. We're in the car, but I don't know, boy. We're the B group in the golf league tonight. So I won't tee off until 5:40, 5:45.
That's pretty sweet for Tim Verghese.
Oh, yeah, adjunct professor.
Yeah.
How do I navigate? 4 o'clock, it'll be 30 minutes. Like jump in the car and like speed. It's an hour and 11 minutes currently from Epley to the course.
Make him take an Uber.
Do I Uber him? Do I make him Uber? Hey, bro.
Hey, sorry, I know I haven't seen you guys in years and we have a weekend planned here, but I also have golf league tonight, so suck it.
Yeah. What's your Uber cost to Wilderness Ridge?
And Hoaxin, as I think about it, if you want to go hang out with your buddies, we could probably take it from here.
You guys good? You sure?
Yeah.
Come back with stories and then do the promo for tomorrow and stuff. I'm good. If you guys are good with that, because this will take us like I said to.
Yeah, we'll be 100% fine if you want to. As I sit here and think about it, there's no reason for you to sit around for 25 minutes to do a few minutes of radio at the end of this segment.
Well,
so
you guys are the best. Happy National Radio Day again. And tomorrow, what do you got? You got Moats tomorrow, and then whatever else you guys.
Yeah, well, it's fall camp. We got plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, boys.
Enjoy, Hoaxie.
Hey guys, appreciate you.
There he goes, Bill Hooks. We'll hear from Bill Hooks on Monday.
Let me do.
Welcome back in the Morning Hookup again. Happy Thursday. Welcome into the Morning Hookup again. Boy, we are so blessed and to have coming off fresh off an American Legion World Series victory. We have Coach Michael Lonick. Coach Lonick, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Hooks. How are you? Thank you guys for having me on today.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Man, what a run that you guys have been on, and we'll get to all of that. But I want to talk about this current team, your current run out in Shelby, North Carolina. By the way, 52 miles from my hometown. I had a chance to play in that facility a couple of times. Pretty magical. But we talked earlier about this team, and you mentioned a few things in your post-game comments about toughness, grinders, tough as nails. This team was a special one for you, and I know you've had a lot of special teams. But talk about the team in a whole, their characteristics, and what made them so special in this run. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think the DNA of the team was the senior group and those guys that we had. And the cool thing about a lot of those guys is some of them were kind of late bloomers, like two of the Division I position players we had, Brody McIntyre and Dele Audalate, like 4 or 5 years ago coming into high school. Those weren't necessarily like the big primetime guys. They weren't highly ranked freshmen, but the mindset and the toughness and the athleticism that they had just allowed them to continue to get better and better. So I think those guys just set the tone for us really every day, and going back a couple high school seasons, in 24, we had what I think most people would agree was probably one of the more talented classes of baseball players to ever come through Lincoln Public Schools. And then we followed it up with the 25 class that won it all with Jeter and Joey, who are at Nebraska, and Troy and Carter Harms and some other Division I players. And these guys were kind of waiting in the wings, and they were learning from them, and they were training, and they were preparing for their opportunity. And, they were going to seize the moment. And I thought they did that all year long. I mean, I think we ended up playing over 90 or close to 100 games together, and they competed at every single one of them. And it's really easy to coach when you have a team like that.
Coach Jeff Moats, hey, congratulations again on winning the big top prize the other night out in Shelby, North Carolina. When you look back at the last 4 to 5 years that you've been with this program, obviously I can recall, what was it, in 2023 when you guys won a Class A championship in the spring, and then you went on and finished national runner-up in Shelby, that you had 6 or 7 Division I commits or prospects, which was unheard of with high school baseball teams in Lincoln. You go to this year, you only have maybe 2 or 3 that have already committed, and some others that may be prospects. But it's amazing on how things have kind of transpired from then to now. But when you look back, when you judge the talent that you had, you mentioned the graduates you had in 24 and again last year in 25. Of the teams in terms of pure talent, does this team this year stand out the most compared to the others?
Man, that's a tough question. I think one of the things that I'm really proud of, Jeff, is just like the fact that Lincoln East High School and Carpetland, they've learned to win different ways. So I don't know if we'll ever have a team that had as much just raw power and hitting ability as the 24 group. I think Garrett Springer and AJ Vasca both hit close to 10 homers in the spring and 10 homers in the summer. Those guys are still playing and still hitting homers at a high level in college. The 25 team and this team were different. This team was really built on its pitching staff and its speed. So we've just kind of learned to function and win in different ways. And that's the really cool thing about baseball, is you can win hitting homers, or you can win, hitting singles and stealing bases. And what's remarkable about this group is the pitching staff, I don't want to say carried us, but the pitching staff put us on their backs really from March all the way to August, through 2 different seasons. But on the last day when we needed the offense to show up, they really did. And I think that's the sign of a team and a program that just kind of wills itself to win. Is, we gave up some runs early, and we don't normally do that, but the offense was there to get us back in it, which, is pretty amazing.
Lincoln East and Carpetland coach Michael Lonick with us here on the Morning Hookup. And coach, one of the things that stood out to me with this team all summer long and into both regionals and then the American Legion World Series was the passion you had from guys on the bump. Did your team feed off of just the life that those pitchers brought? Because it felt like compared to some of your previous teams, you just had so much passion on the bump whenever guys would make a big pitch or get that strikeout to end the inning. You'd see a lot of passion up there.
Yeah, I think, obviously our pitching staff kind of starts with Kalai Larson, who in my opinion is one of the better pitchers in the country. And I think he's proven that, so when he takes the ball and goes out there, our team feels really confident. And we tried like crazy to kind of hold him and give us our best chance to win it. And, he ended up closing out the pool play game to get us in. And then he took the ball versus Midland, and you could just see our kids played with so much confidence behind him. But yeah, he pitches with energy. He pitches with passion. He loves what he does. And then Grayson Bjorkman is super fiery and super competitive. And I think that's why in the last 2 years, he's probably pitched in as many big games as anybody around. It's just because he loves being in that moment. He loves having the ball. And those guys feed off of him. One of the kids who had an incredible summer for us was Fisher Irons. Fisher started his freshman spring at East on the freshman team, and he climbed up to the reserve team and the JV team. And, now as a sophomore in the summer, he goes 10-0, and he pitches basically the quarterfinal game to get us there. And obviously Santino was great for us. We don't get out of the regional if it's not for Santino and all the growth that he had. And, down the line, there was a bunch of other guys that got outs for us, Brennan Greesh and, Trevor Roach and Abe Christensen threw a bunch. So yeah, we relied on those guys so much, and we were blessed to have a ton of depth there with the pitching staff to get us to the end and have us be fresh enough to get some outs when we needed to there.
Coach, one of the things that us four guys have talked about on this show is just how much baseball in Lincoln has developed over the last 5 to 7 years. The talent pool is improving, and you're seeing, at the youth level, more facilities and opportunities for kids to get better. What have you seen with just the talent pool in Lincoln growing in the last few years, and then how much those kids have developed from, say, their freshman year by the time they got out of Lincoln East?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think there's a ton of people in the Lincoln community that are doing a lot of things to grow the game of baseball. And I think, the facility over at Sandhills is obviously, kind of the mecca of that. What, Charlie Colon and Coach Fagler and those guys are doing over there. It's pretty impressive stuff. And, Bill and my kids are playing on a lot of different fields than Bill and I did growing up. That's for sure. But, in terms of, high school development, I think you just kind of see that across the board, and it's not necessarily just in baseball. There's new basketball facilities popping up, and kids are having more access and more ability to train and develop their skills. At Lincoln East specifically, man, we just want to help our kids get as big and as strong and as athletic as they can. But we always tell them, it's like motivation is one thing, but discipline is so much more. And if we have to motivate our kids every day to get in better shape or to get stronger, that's going to wear off. But what we're fortunate to have kids that are really disciplined in terms of what they're doing with their nutrition and what they're doing with their diet and what they're doing in the weight room and their sprint training. And I think that discipline carries them through the long summer days and, the boring fall months where they're basically just working at it to get better. So the credit goes to the kids and to the families and the work that they put in. And, sometimes coaches like me get to kind of reap the rewards of that.
Coach, you led me right into it. I wrote down the word family. Talk about that and how much that means in your East program and also your village, my friend. You've got a great village around you to see your smiling boys and your wife. But talk about those and how much that means from the baseball community and your own village that supports you and your teams day in and day out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it all starts with my wife. Nobody deserves more credit for who I am and the strengths I have, and what I've helped East Baseball become than her and the sacrifice she makes. One of my parents sent me a picture after the World Series, and it was Amy basically in an athletic stance and a huge fist bump, and then my youngest son Garrick with special needs. She was holding him, and he had both hands on the fence, and he was screaming and going crazy, and it almost makes me tear up just thinking about it. But playing baseball at the level that we try to play it at, it's really hard and it's really competitive, and we only get 9 spots in the lineup to put guys in there. And, we certainly have more than 9 guys who deserve to play. So that makes it really tough, but, we just, as a coaching staff, as a program, as an athletic department, we just hope our kids know we love them and we're going to give them every opportunity to develop, and just show them that we care. And I think that's one of the cool things about summer baseball and what Jeff Lems and what Carpet Land and what Post 500 allow us to do is they allow us to spend a lot of time together. And some of the things that our kids will remember about this run or the run in 23 or the run last summer, it's not even necessarily the games and the achievements. It's the time together. It's the, going to the pool together or sitting around the lobby playing poker together. All of our kids create a fantasy football league, and it's the Carpetland players and it's Brooks Lonick in the fantasy football league. And, to Brooks, it's like, those are his heroes. And now he's talking to them about, whether he should draft Puka Nakua or Jamar Chase, and he gets to take that with him forever. So yeah, I feel so blessed to be a part of it. I feel so blessed to have, Amy and my boys support what we're trying to do. And, the coaching staff we have, everybody, it's a pretty special thing, and it's something that I'll cherish forever. That's for sure.
Has it finally settled in that you guys won the national title? Has it taken at least 24 hours, or is it still pretty surreal for you to know that you guys have climbed up to the top of the mountain in baseball?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, you kind of know how I tick. I'm definitely proud of what we accomplished. I'm really happy for our players, and I'm really happy that, in 20 or 30 or 40 years from now, like their team will get to be talked about the way that it should, because that doesn't happen for all teams. And I'm really happy for them. But I mean, for me personally, the journey is kind of the joy for me. And, seeing a kid like Jackson Makovic could come in and just work and, see our seniors like Brody and Dele take him under their wing and help him develop, or to see a kid like Huxton Cott kind of, manage 2 sports all summer and be all in for both of them and then be rewarded. Like, to me, that's the joy, and I'm really happy that we won, and we're fortunate to have won versus such good teams all along the way. I mean, Legion baseball in the state of Nebraska, it's tough. It's no joke. And the state tournament we got through was a super, super big challenge. So, the journey's the joy for me. And, I'm super flattered to be able to come on your show and talk about my life and talk about our team. But, I'm also excited to get back to work with, the guys that we have and get moving towards, hopefully winning some more and developing some more for sure.
And Coach, there really ain't no rest for the weary. I know you got to get back to teaching here today. It's right back to the grind for you. But last thought before we get you out, is there any sort of vacation planned, you and the wife? Anything you can do to kick your feet up before that next baseball season rolls around?
No, I think the plan is to get back home and to kind of get settled in with all of our family stuff. The Blonick boys started school today, and they'll be right back at it with their activities. We'll take some time this fall to enjoy our time and make our marriage a priority. But we just keep trucking along. There's no vacation plan. We got to teach and work and pay the bills, but we'll find some time to do that soon.
Well, Coach, hey, again, congratulations, my friend. It was great to catch up with you, and thanks for your time, and good luck to you. And hey, good luck in the first day back in school as well for yourself.
Thank you, guys. I sure appreciate you, and I hope you know how much we feel blessed to come on and talk to you. So thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Coach. Hey, we'll catch up soon, man. Have a great day.
Thank you.
There it was, Carpetland Rugs East High baseball coach, the winning coach of the American League World Series, Michael Lonick, there on the morning hookup. Appreciate his time as always. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap the show up with stories that we missed.
Bang. Tomorrow, we are 1 week away from week 0. Wait, no, Saturday.
Yeah. Wish it was Friday. Not to say I'm not enjoying my national radio day, but
pretty weak week 0 this year.
Yeah. Generally speaking, pretty weak early season.
John Rothstein posted Arizona/Ukraine standalone game.
Was it Ukraine?
Yeah.
They're playing the Ukrainian national team?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Let's see, week 1 of college football, to zoom totally past week 0, you have Clemson at LSU, Saturday night. Could be interesting.
Week 1?
Week 1. And then you have Sunday, Wisconsin against Notre Dame at Lambeau, and Louisville against Ole Miss in Nashville.
It'll be okay.
And then Monday night football is SMU at Florida State. So roughly 3 games worth watching. I don't think the Apple Cup with Washington State and Washington will be very good. Washington's favored by 22.5.
Yeah.
Okay. College football week 1 after dark. I'll be at a wedding, unfortunately, but we do have UCLA at Cal. UCLA is only a 1.5 point favorite.
Yeah,
that could be a fun one.
Have you seen that Cal quarterback?
I can't pronounce his name, but yeah,
he's pretty sweet. Him versus Nico, that'll be a fun game.
Duran Koe Sagapulutele.
Yeah,
Sagapulutele.
About as close as I can get.
So yeah, I got Nico down. Nico Iamalieva, which that sends people for more of a loop than I think it should.
Yeah. Louisville is starting Lincoln Kienholz this year, who has been
the pride of South Dakota,
who has been Ohio State's backup for the last 2 years.
Pure South Dakota. you know why he's named Lincoln?
No.
His family's big Husker fans.
Oh, nice.
Damn.
Trey Richardson.
If he goes Joe Burrow this year, oh boy.
Imagine. They got some threats in the receiver room. Bring back Isaac Brown too. Should be a fun game.
The stories we miss. The Morning Hookup.
Welcome back in one final time here with the Morning Hookup. Elijah Herbal and YZ with you for this final segment. A big thank you, Coach Michael Lonick, head coach Lincoln East High School Baseball, as well as the Carpetland Post 500 Legion Baseball team, the national champs. He joined us last segment. Really good sit down with Coach Lonick, getting some insight on that World Series run, the team he put together this year. A fantastic run for that East baseball team, but just know one thing. They're not satisfied. It's going to be a reload type year for Lincoln East, as they're a threat to win Class A in Nebraska every single year, both the high school and the Legion season. Some stories that we missed. The big one from yesterday. How about a judge in Louisiana granting a group of 16 former, well, maybe not former anymore, college football players, including several who are in training camp right now
and have played in
preseason games, a restraining order and injunction allowing them to return to college sports this year, and now many of them entering into the NCAA transfer portal. Gross. So that includes Jack Pyburn of LSU. He had 2 sacks in Tampa Bay's most recent preseason game. He has now entered the transfer portal. You have the running back out of Oregon State as well. His name is escaping me. Really good for the Beavers last year. And then was that TJ Harden? That is TJ Harden.
TJ Harden played for
he played at UCLA.
Yep.
So Seahawks running back TJ Harden entering the transfer portal as well. So the grossness of college sports continues.
Is this a case of guys knowing that they're not going to make the NFL team and saying, I have an extra year in college football, why not go back?
And the one thing I will say is if the 5 for 5 came down earlier and these guys realized they had one more year, would it have changed their decision to make it off to the NFL? That is the one thing where I say, I get where they're coming from, but you have signed a professional contract.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't signed a professional contract, okay, you should by all means be able to return to college football. But if you have signed on the dotted line for a professional contract, it's over.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It does feel unfair, but life can be unfair at times. I'm sorry that you made your decision before the 5 for 5 ruling came down. But unfortunately, you've signed a professional contract. That should be it. And I'd like to think that coaches and ADs out there would look at the situation and go, this is wrong. We can't have these guys back. But I know winning is everything, and they're going to try to acquire as much talent as possible. So
it all just feels so foreign. It feels like video game like just dudes that are going into professional coming back to college. Like this was something that as a kid, you would never think in your wildest dreams that this would ever happen. Now this is like our true reality. It's ridiculous.
And the hard thing for me to balance is while everything off the field about college sports feels like it sucks, man, are those games on Saturday fun.
Yeah.
It's among the top 25. It's the most competitive I think college football has been at the top of the sport. So I'd like that I'd like to think that hopefully soon there will be guardrails in place for college football to prevent things like this from happening. But at the end of the day, we're all consumers and we're consuming the sport that is college football. The stats would say at a higher rate than ever before. So we have preseason football tonight as well.
Yeah.
Raiders and the Texans, another chance to look at Fernando Mendoza. We have the Niners and the Chargers. That's it. But
football.
It's football.
Something to watch. How about your Nuggets yesterday? Involved in quite a big trade. Sending Peyton Watson off.
Oh yeah, this has been expected.
Yeah, Peyton Watson gone. Max Strus goes to the Clippers. I don't really know what the Nuggets received in any of this. Probably cash and
cap space.
Yeah,
is Peyton Watson has been a guy that has struggled to fit in fully with this Nuggets roster. You can see the talent. he was not going to be a guy that was going to sign an extension with Denver. I don't think. Just it wasn't going to work out financially. So the Nuggets clear some cap space. They get a second-round pick back from the Kings and potentially a little bit more room to operate as they try to build a different-looking team around Nikola Jokic.
Hey, you got Julian Reese too, Andy Reese's brother. He's going to get waived to like get rid of his deal. But yeah, Julian Reese will be a Nugget for a little bit.
Woo! Yes. That'll do it from us here on a Thursday. We'll check in with you tomorrow morning, 9 to 11. The Almanac Jeff Moats will join us. Talk some more Husker Fall Camp and a whole lot more. We'll talk to you then.